Hello YouTube. Today we're going to be reviewing this wig. I picked this up about a month ago on Amazon, and as of this recording it is available for $17.99 on Prime with free shipping and free returns, so it's a pretty low risk investment. It is a bit darker in person than the listing shows, or at least I think so. The link to the listing is going to be in the description of the video, so after this is over you can check it out. Buy it, don't buy it. I'm not getting paid either way. This is totally on me. This is not a paid promotion. Anyway, the company that makes this is called MISSQUEEN, and like I said, it's on Amazon Prime. It is one of my favorite wigs to wear out and about on a regular day because it's very cool and very comfortable. It's also not super bright and obnoxious like a lot of my wigs, so it's very normal. It's cute. It's very 50s housewife-ish. Goes great with some real bright red lipstick. Barely brushes the shoulders, so it's not super long. It's also very light. It's not very heavy. It has what I call floating tracks, which allow the air to get to your scalp easier and makes it cooler temperature-wise to wear. And I'll explain that more in a few minutes. Overall, I just really like it. It's very easy. You don't really have to do anything to wear this. It is not a lace front. It has bangs, but you know, with a little bit of a trim, the bangs are really cute. And they make the wig a lot easier to put on and take off and not really worry about whether it's moving. So I'm gonna take this off and show you the inside of it and go over what I like and don't like about it, and I'll see you in a bit whenever I come back with this. Alright, and I'm back. This is what I was talking about by normal. This is my usual affair, and this is the wig that I was just wearing. I'm just brushing it out real quick. It doesn't really tangle easily. It's not tangled now, but it is kind of a little flyaway because I just took it off my head. But it brushes out pretty quickly. Anyway, so this is what I meant by floating tracks. We're going to turn this inside out for a minute. Okay. And you see how there's material here, but these tracks for the hair are just kind of floating. There's like these structural ribs, and then you can like stick your finger straight through where the tracks are. And this has positives and negatives, and one of the positives is that it's very, very cool to wear. The breeze can kind of just come straight through and hit your scalp. If your hair isn't tied up correctly, potentially your hair could poke out through these gaps. This is solved by simply making sure that your hair is tied up or wearing a wig cap, but that kind of defeats the purpose of having the floating tracks. I don't wear wig caps most of the time because honestly I think they're very hot, but sometimes you need them. So things I like about this: it has a plastic scalp, which is sort of a take it or leave it. I will show you as best I can here. Now, it's not too bad. It's not too unrealistic. If you look inside, the actual area of plastic here is like 4.5 to 5 inches long and about 1.5 inches wide. So that gives you a little bit of room to actually pluck a few hairs here and there. You don't want to go too crazy with it because it'll make like little potholes, but you know, plucking a few hairs here and there to just give it a more realistic feel is not going to hurt anything, and you've got plenty of room to do it. You can also kind of comb it a little bit. I mean, I can just do this with my hands real quick. Oh, I got a brush here. You can kind of comb it a little bit and make the part not quite as stick straight, and you have a little bit of room to be able to do that and just kind of put a little bend in it, and that helps make it look more natural. But again, I am of the firm belief at this point that nobody is staring at the top of your head. So as long as it doesn't look glaringly obvious, it's gonna pass just fine. So one of the things I don't like is that it has a couple of combs on the inside here, and that's fine, but it doesn't have one at the back where the nape of your neck would be. And I think it's pretty important to have one back there because I think that's the best anchoring point, especially for me anyway, because whenever I tie my hair up, I tie it up at the back of my head. And then I kind of swish it up and clip it on the top. So that comb in the back at the nape of the neck gives it a good anchoring point to kind of make sure that the wig isn't going anywhere. I don't really have a problem with this wig going anywhere though, because it does fit nicely and it's got adequate adjustment back here with the straps and the slots. So I haven't felt the need to add a clip, but it is something to be aware of and you might want to add one. It has, like I said, 2 clips in the front. So you could kind of put this on from the back to the front and then just kind of push it back and slide those combs into your natural hair to make it real secure. It is, as I said before, it is darker than the listing pictures. The listing pictures show something that's almost like a real dark, dirty blonde red, whereas this is pretty dark. It's reddish brown. It's more brown really than red, but it is cute. It definitely has some red tones. It does have hairs of slightly different shades, if you can see that, mixed together, which make for a much more realistic feel. A lot of cheaper wigs I see have hairs that are all one solid color. Every single strand is exactly the same. And hair just doesn't act like that, not natural hair anyway. And even when you color your natural hair has different shades in the strands, so the color is going to take to those different strands slightly differently. So you still have a little bit of depth and volume in different shades going on in your hair, even within a natural color. So it's nice to see a cheap synthetic wig that has that in mind already. There is something else to be aware of here. Now it has bangs and doesn't have a lace front, and this is kind of good and bad. On one hand, you know, you're not going to get super close scalp pictures of the hair meeting your skin and believe this is not a wig. But again, there's very few instances where you'd actually be doing that. So, you know, but what it does have, what is nice about it is that because it has bangs, you wouldn't look right at where the hair is meeting the skin anyway. Nobody goes up to you and just lifts your bangs. So also what it does have, and I see this, I don't know if it happens with expensive wigs or not, because I don't have very many of them, but I do see it a lot with Amazon wigs. It has this sort of real short, kinky fibers right underneath the bangs. You don't really notice them when it's actually on your head, but what they serve to do is give the bangs a little bump and give them a little bit of a volume boost. Sorry, tongue-tied. Also, whenever you part the bangs, you might see 1 or 2 of those hairs against your skin, and because they're real short and kind of kinky, they look like your own natural baby hairs whenever you tie up your hair. And what you would see whenever you actually parted your real bangs if you had them. So it's not something to be afraid of, but it is definitely kind of weird whenever you pull it out of the package if you didn't know to look for that. But yeah, once it's on your head, you really don't notice this at all. The bangs, most wigs that have bangs have them way too long. So you can either kind of push them to either side, like I do a lot of the time. You can trim them, to whatever is adequate for you. They usually make them too long because people have different lengths of a face. So too long on one person is going to be too short on another person. So they give you as much length as you need to be able to cut it to how you want and not worry about not having enough. But be careful when you're cutting it because you can't make it grow back. It's fake. So that's pretty much it for this. The only other things I have to say are, well, you have these ear tabs here, the tabs of fabric that go right in front of the ear. And on some wigs that I've seen, it's got a nice velvet lining, but this has a lace underneath. It's not itchy or anything. It's not as soft as the velvet, but it's not itchy. So realistically, after you've worn it for a couple seconds, you won't really even notice it. And that's about it. So yeah, I'm going to just add a little bit for those of you who are beginners and go over how to bag this up now that I have it in my hand, how to actually bag this up and store it. A lot of sites I've seen tell you that you should have all of your wigs on wig heads. That's not practical. Not if you have a bunch of them. So I'm just going to go over how to go about storing this in a way that it's not going to get damaged and you can put it in a bag and put it in a cabinet or something and it's out of the way. Okay? All right. Okay, and we're back. Now, most of the time when you buy a wig, especially if you buy it on Amazon anyway, it comes with everything that you need to store it. But if it doesn't, or if you've lost those pieces for whatever reason, then I'll explain what to replace them with. It's pretty easy. So first things first is you want to brush this out and make sure all their tangles are gone, that it's pretty good to go. Okay, kind of like if you were just going to wear it. So then you want to, this is going to be easier on a longer wig. This is really short, so it's going to be not as nice, but you want to bunch up the hair at the bottom like this and then kind of tuck it into the wig itself. Okay? Looks like a mess, I know. Now, most of these wigs come in a hairnet like material. If you don't have that material, get some hairnets. They're real cheap. I got like a pack of 100 or 200 or something from a company called Smilco on Amazon, S-M-I-L-C-O. There are other companies too. I think that was the cheapest at the time for a large quantity, and they're just as good. So anyway, you're going to take your hairnet and kind of stretch it out and tuck it underneath the wig where you just pulled that hair up, and then pull it over the top and roll it in. So now you have a bag of hair. Okay? Wigs usually come in a plastic bag. If for whatever reason you ripped that bag when you're pulling it out of the package, or it didn't come in a bag, whatever, a gallon Ziploc will do just fine. I will say that the bags that they come in have a little hole in them. I don't know how well you can see that, but there's a little hole here. And that's just so that when you seal it up, you don't accidentally seal all the air out of it. You don't want this to be vacuum sealed, and you want it to have room so that it doesn't crimp the hair. So if you do use a gallon Ziploc or whatever, just like snip the corners off of it or something, just to make sure that it does the same kind of thing. So anyway, you open up the bag, you take the hair, grabbing it by the top of the hairnet, I forgot the word for a second, and you kind of just shimmy it in. Okay? And now you have a bag of hair in a bag of hair. And this external bag of hair can be stored in a cabinet or whatever you need to do with it. Like I said, just don't push down on it. You don't want to squeeze the air out of it. You're not trying to vacuum seal it. You're not trying to fresh seal it like a sandwich. You just want it to be stored. And you don't want dirt in it. So that's pretty much it. All right. All right. See you next time. Like, subscribe, whatever you need to do for YouTube. All right. Bye.